big tree here that was massive, and we estimated with a little bit of help from an arborist that it was probably over 150 years old. Beautiful big old tree, but unfortunately a part of it broke off. It had been cut back many years ago, potentially 20 years ago. And apparently what happens when you do that is it gets a disease into it and it rots it from the inside out. And you can't quite tell, but there were signs we didn't know at the time. But I'll take you for a walk over and show you the pile of the tree that's left. I'm going to burn it. I wanted to mulch it, but it's just too hard. People are worried about cutting it or mulching it because it was right next to the house and it's so old. There was potentially stakes and bits of metal and star pickets and stuff that would have grown into the tree. And I found evidence of that, so I don't really blame them. But anyway, I'll show you. If I can turn him around. So that's the pile. It's pretty big. And if I get around a bit further, well, you can see a bit there where it's a big hole. I don't want to get too close because there's probably going to be snakes in there. But see that? They're all like that. They're all rotten. Just, yeah, it's just everywhere you look. You can't actually see as much as what there is there, but there's humongous, just hollow pieces of wood, limbs that were, like that one there is nearly, I don't know, you'd say it's 700 mil across. So she's pretty big. And yeah, it was there. That the tree that stood there, that's the stump of it, stood, I don't know, 15, 20 metres tall. And it's where I'm standing here, I'm about probably 20 metres away from it. And the branches came out to where I am. They reached the shed and they also reached the house. And so what happened was when the first bit come down, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, I think. And dead silent like it normally is. And just heard this huge crack and then thud. We came out and sure enough, one of the limbs had just snapped off it. So we cleaned it up that morning, the Saturday morning, and then, you're crazy, man. You are crazy, boy. Anyway, 2 weeks later, bang, another one came down and landed on the shed, the carport roof. And it was a much bigger piece. It was still maybe less than a third of the tree, or far less than a third of the tree. It's probably a fifth of the tree. But it completely blocked all that part up there, where that concrete path is. And the rest of it was still standing, but I was worried that it was going to come down and land. The rest of it would land on the house, which would do a lot more damage. But it was just shocking to see because we love this tree. And for it to go, so you can see the big hollow in it. We just thought that was a part of how it had grown at some point, because there was multiple trees here at one stage, but it turned out, no, that's all rot. It just rotted from the inside out. To some people that's probably really obvious, but it wasn't obvious to us. The tree looked healthy in all other aspects. Heaps of new foliage, always fruiting. It's a Moreton Bay fig, always fruiting. Didn't drop too many branches, even though they are renowned for that. Flag looks good. That looks really good. But anyway, yeah. Turned out, no, she wasn't long for the for the earth, and it come down, and I'm sort of at a point now I don't really know what to do. I'll just probably chop all that up. I have to get rid of it because, as you can see, it is absolutely covered in cat's claw. It always was. That wasn't a factor in it. But to get rid of the cat's claw, you have to get the tubers. They grow a tuber like a sweet potato. And if you don't get rid of that, you don't get rid of the cat's claw. So I would assume there will be hundreds of tubers underneath that stump. And yeah, they'll have to be dug out. So that'll be fun. But anyway, yeah, that's the story of the fig tree. There's photos of it, and we documented a lot of it because we love that tree. Like when we first came out here, I think the first time Mariah and I came out, before we bought it, no, not the first time we came out by ourselves, we had fish and chips just right there underneath the tree, the shade of the tree, and it was just magical. We loved it, and it's a real shame. I've planted more figs. You can see them over the back potentially, and they're growing quite quickly, but yeah, it's still, nonetheless, it's still a shame that you lose a tree of that age. You know, it was unnecessary because it was how it had been pruned in the past. From what the arborist has told us, that's the reason that it failed, which I find an absolute shame. But anyway, life goes on, and you can't dwell on things like that. So it is what it is. But anyway, onwards and upwards. So that's just sort of a brief walk around. Like I said, it was mainly just to see how hot the camera gets when I'm filming for longer periods of time, which it seems I'm holding it in my hand seems fine. And two, because my back is fucking killing me. I've got to lose a bit of weight, like, I'll be honest, I'm aware of that. And you know, I've made a few little changes. Hopefully that can assist with a bit of the weight loss. But yeah, it's my back. I don't know what I did to it, but it's hurting. So walking around is not helping it. I can tell that. But talking to the cameras also, I'm taking my mind off it. So I'll give you a quick look at the view just as a final sort of send off. It's superb. I really do live in paradise. This place is incredible, and it's, yeah, all of Australia is incredible. It really is. Like, we live in such a beautiful country. We are so fortunate that we have what we have, and we live where we live. But where I live is especially amazing.